Is this your association? You're putting out free content and people are starting to engage with it, but they're not members. People join up to get access to your conference, but once the event is over, they don't renew. You have so much to offer, so why won't they commit? If this sounds familiar, then this episode's for you. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Association Amplify podcast. We explore solutions to bridge the member value gap, the biggest threat to associations today. Today, our guest is Dan Stevens, founder of WorkerBee TV, and today we're going to be talking all about accreditation and badging. Welcome, Dan.
Thank you. Good to be here.
So this is an interesting topic to go down. Obviously, education, badging, accreditation is all hugely important. It's a big opportunity for associations to provide additional value to their members. It's also potentially can be a good recruitment tool, but often the challenge, I think, for many associations is, well, one, conversion, right? And also, how do we position these products and services / education opportunities in a way that they're really going to resonate with the folks that they're meant to serve?
Well, that's a big topic. So let's just talk about the importance of learning. An environment where the rate of change is so increasing and moving so quickly all the time, the need for reskilling and new skills, and how do I adopt AI and how do I evolve in my career is so important. And they want to turn to an authentic place to get that education. And that's the role of an association, is to be that authentic place where you can get trusted education. So the opportunity is huge, but let's break down the categories first before we kind of go into them, because accreditation is kind of like the pinnacle. It's like a degree, if you will. It's getting a third-party accredited certificate for achieving some form of education and skill level. That fits in many associations, but in others, it might be very expensive to put in because I have a small association, or I have a trade association, or I don't have enough people in that specific discipline. But if you can put that in, it is kind of the pinnacle of places to go. But if you're a trade or a smaller association that you don't think will fit that, there's all kinds of things you can do. There might be continued ed to support the people who are already accredited but need a certain amount of ongoing education every year. Badging is something that started way back with the Boy Scouts and the Girl Guides, but has been around for a long time and has finally moved into the digital world, where you're reinforcing people for consuming and learning on the go in a pathway. It doesn't have to be accredited, or it might be stepping stones towards an accreditation. And then there's just general education that you might be able to package and still charge for and make revenue with or without an accreditation, so or even a badge. So it's a matter of first deciding, A, do my members need education? That's an easy yes. B, where is the void in the marketplace that it makes sense for us as an association to fill? And then once you understand that void, then you can look at these categories and go, what makes sense? What's the cost-benefit ratio? And where should I start and test? And so much of that has gone online, so that you can do online learning 24/7 and be convenient for everybody. So it allows you that opportunity to find a reason why members need to engage with you more. And in some cases, they may join the membership just because of that course. Because so often you'll see a member price and a non-member price,
of course,
or a student price. And maybe I'll get you to join as a student. So then you're ready to join once you have your career after you're a student. So it becomes a great marketing opportunity to expose yourself and your content and your authenticity to the industries that you're serving, right even before they're a member, right at the student level.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. There's obviously a lot of opportunity to give tangible return on investment to your prospective member, to your member. And what I mean by that is anytime something becomes transactional, people need to do a value prop on it. right? If we can make our courses, if we can make that accreditation or even badging appealing and that value proposition very clear, then we can both gain influence in terms of reinforcing our position in the industry with our audience. But we could also deliver on something that's tangibly going to make that person's life better in the case of a professional association.
Make their life better, maybe get them a raise or move into a new salary grid because of that accreditation or that education. Maybe get a promotion they wouldn't have got otherwise. Maybe even be hired or not be hired because of it. And so when you can directly impact the future careers of your members in a positive way, you got to look at these opportunities and looking at learning and all of those different, accreditation, continued ed, badging, and so forth, deciding which of those elements make sense for your learning program to achieve those goals.
So I think the advantages here are pretty clear, and we kind of hit the point that, like, hey, look, you have to use like I like to say, a little bit of sympathy in terms of when you're creating these things. Are they tangibly going to be beneficial to the folks? So that's a little bit of a guiding star. But I'm curious, from your experience, what are some examples where perhaps associations fall a little short in rolling these kind of initiatives out?
I see it all the time. They fall short in a number of ways, and they're common ways across many associations. The first one is people get busy and they take shortcuts on creating content. So you'll see often that, they have to get this accreditation or they have to re-up, on this particular certification so many years. So people can get complacent and all of a sudden the content levels become a little boring, a little stale, voice over PowerPoint kind of thing. Or, it's 8 hours of droning on as opposed to being chunked up into small chapters with a little bit of energy and fun that, to make it engaging. So I think, focusing on the quality of the content is important because these people talk with their peers. And so there are going to be people who take the course because they absolutely have to, but there's going to be other people who take the course because they want to. Mm-hmm. And so you want both. And you want that experience to be, I have to take it. That's why I'm a member of this association. No, you want it to be, I'm a member of this association, and one of our great values is this education, and get them to lean in. And so that's one area of weakness. Another area of weakness is just lack of marketing and exposure to the content. Like, I have to look at the price and I have to decide before I put my credit card in whether or not this is truly for me. Does it fit? Is it really in my pathway? What if I bought the wrong one? What if it's, the title was just, I thought it was A and it was really meant B. There's no previews. There's no way of really knowing what I get until I put my credit card in. And so would you watch a 3-hour movie on Netflix without watching the preview? No. So give them some previews.
I was just doing an analysis yesterday and I came across this exact thing. After a bit of deduction, I realized that, hey, this actually is a very interesting opportunity for a purchase. But, folks, we have to do a better job of not only creating better awareness about courses or just actual transitional products that we're delivering, but you got to put through the effort of actually being very quantitative in terms of just at least the description and title and,
Yeah. What are those learning outcomes? And sometimes, think back to your university days and college days where, hey, that course fit in 3 different paths. Mm. And so there's no downside to me taking that course. Because if I decide to switch from path A to path B, it still works. Where if it only fit in one of the paths, then you have to really is that the path I'm going down? Most likely you have that opportunity within your own association to create some content where by purchasing and consuming and passing this particular course, I can use that in others. But if you don't tell them that, if it's not easy for them to understand that, if it's not visual, they're not going to understand it and they're going to miss out. And so looking at your editorial content calendar should be the short form content that drives interest in your educational content calendar. And so that you're driving people from the short stories into the actual courses, and you're giving them the why so that they're interested in investing in the how.
I want to touch on a topic that is both relevant to the folks working to provide good education to their members and in their industry, but it's also very marketing relevant. So both those people should be kind of glued at the hip when thinking about contributing to member value in this regard. And that's just simply, how are we going to expose both members and prospective members to all these initiatives that we're putting out, all these courses, right? The picture frame around that and the member experience that someone has with it is hugely influential on the success and outcome of, putting a course together, which is, it takes a lot of time and effort to do such a thing.
Absolutely. Like visual pathways will not only increase your revenue and your engagement, but it will probably, make the person realize, what, this is achievable, and tell them that this should only take X to, like, how much effort is going to be required. So they know right up front that I can invest, let's imagine it's 30 hours. Well, but then you break it down and go, but you know what? Our chapters are only 15 minutes long to 30 minutes long. So you can fit this in around your busy schedule. Maybe some of them can be done on your lunch or your coffee break, or, just not while driving. And by chunking it up into, small little chapters that are both educational, but maybe even entertaining, then you're actually making the learning experience fun, and you're encouraging them to go deeper.
So Dan, if one of the folks listening in the audience today is taking this topic as an initiative at their association, and they're on board with, hey, we need to roll this into our content strategy and our digital strategy in our strategic planning, where would you advise them to start?
It's a big question like the first one, but it's an important question in that first you have to determine, how big is that audience and what is the right model? Do I need accreditation? Do I just need packaged learning and training? And once you've answered that, you start to form the topics that will end up being in that calendar and create that educational program. Then you'll know, like, can this be classroom training? Can this be online learning? Can it be both? What's the best, mode for this? And then who are my experts? I've got a full-time job running my association. And how am I going to get this done? And who are going to be my experts? And that's the beauty of an association, is there are so many experts in committees and board members and the speakers at your conferences, to the links that you have to universities and other educational institutions, and of course the members themselves, and the sponsors even. Like, everybody is a potential expert who can contribute depending on what it is that need is. And so you can start mapping the experts to the topics and treating it no different than you would if this was an educational calendar for a magazine or for my digital platform. But obviously, where the difference is how do I test for it? How do I prove that person consumed the content, learned the content, and had a minimum degree of competency with that subject? And that's where the technologies like a good learning management system come in to make it easy for that person to consume the content, but also then take the quizzes or tests and get scored online as opposed to doing it manually. So that I think people underestimate that they have all of these resources at their fingertips. They just got to ask the right questions to the right people.
Yeah, I often give the same advice, where even more broadly, just with content strategy, that, the great opportunity for associations, this is just so much is at their fingertips. It's just a matter of taking action.
And especially in an association where peers love learning from peers. And so again, I know of one trade association who rolled out an educational series. They put together a committee of peers. The committee decided on the topics. The committee sourced the experts. They created the content. Well, it's now about, I would say, about 25% of their revenue now comes from education. It was zero not that long ago. So 25% of their overall revenue now comes from non-accredited training in a trade organization. So often a trade organization will look in the mirror and go, well, I'm not a society. I can't do a formal education. Well, where's the gap? Because once these people leave school, it's up to the companies to train. And so many companies don't have the opportunities to train and opportunities to learn. So what do? They join associations where they can collectively afford to do that. So this particular association executive, his mantra is, an association should do what members can't do on their own. And so I love that mantra because it allows you to look at your association with a fresh set of eyes and ears as things change, as opposed to, well, we've always done that and we've never done that. And so needs will evolve, and use that lens to look inside and go, where's the education needed to move and upskill our organization and keep our workforce and our members' workforces current? And I mean, AI pops into my mind right away. Everybody needs to learn something about AI. There's a billion places they can learn it. They want to go to their trusted source to learn it. How can you help them?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's such a simple and great message for folks to take on with them. I mean, we all need a guiding light. I think that one's really well said. So Dan, we talked about a lot of the tangible benefits of rolling out something like this. What are the intangible benefits?
I would say the biggest intangible benefits of having a training program or an education program are the positive impact on both recruitment and retention. You know, if you develop an educational program that meets the needs of members, it's going to also attract new members, because training programs are difficult to build on your own, and they're so necessary in today's society. And especially if government compliance forces you into something. I mean, just think of all the money spent on safety because of compliance. It'd be a tenth of that spent if there was no compliance. But the need is there. And so if you can fill that void, you're going to positively impact recruitment and retention, because especially if you have an accreditation program, because they went all that way to get that accreditation. Now they have to keep it. They need continued ed every year. And so where are they going to come to? They're going to come to the same place. And if it's cheaper to do it as a member than a non-member, they're going to stay a member, and they're going to be happy to do so. So recruitment and retention are the biggest intangible benefits of a good training program or a good education program.
Well, Dan, it's been awesome talking about this topic with you. If we were going to put everything in a tight box for folks about what they should take away from this conversation, what would you say is most important?
Education is the future. And with the rate of change, it is a definite need, which means there are gaps in the marketplace where associations are uniquely qualified to fill that gap, to fill that void. So create a committee of members, have them do a lot of the homework for you so that you know that if you deliver, you've already got your first customers, and figure out what model makes sense for you. Is it full accreditation? Maybe. Is it just continued ed? Maybe. Is it just training? Maybe. Is it badging so that in your own industry, if you don't have formal accreditation, you could actually make your badge a standard without even formal accreditation? But it might make sense to actually go all the way and get help and put in a formal process. So it all depends on the volume, the types of courses. Get your committee together, analyze it, and fill the void. Guaranteed, you will find one.
Well said. So much opportunity on the table for associations to use this to both express their authority, lead from the front, and roll it into their greater content strategy for the year, where it could really complement what they have to offer for both their industry and for their members. Dan, thanks so much again for appearing on the podcast again. It's been a pleasure.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right, that's our show. To our viewers, thank you for joining us. If you want to learn more about how to amplify your association's relevance and growth, check us out at workerbee.tv.